Welcome to the Florida Citrus Sports Scouting Report presented by Florida Hospital. I'm Erin Campbell. This week marked the release of the first Bowl Championship Series standings. With some surprising outcomes in our four partner conferences, our selection committee has many options to consider for the second half of the season. The SEC has 6 teams ranked in the initial polls, 5 of which come from the West. LSU and Auburn meet this weekend on the Plains in hopes to protect their undefeated records. Tough losses from East contenders Florida and South Carolina leave that side of the division wide open, with several important upcoming games in the next few weeks. The number 1 team in the country fell for the second time in as many weeks as Wisconsin defeated Ohio State in Madison. That leaves Michigan State as the highest ranked team in the conference according to BCS standings. However, with its win over Michigan last weekend, Iowa could be in good position to take a conference championship. The other BCS ranked teams, the Badgers, the Buckeyes, and the Spartans, all have to travel to Iowa City in the second half of the season. The Coast Conference now has 2 ranked teams in Florida State and Virginia Tech. Both teams are undefeated in ACC play and lead their respective divisions. However, several teams in the conference could contend for a title game, including NC State, Clemson, and Maryland in the Atlantic, Georgia Tech, North Carolina, and Miami in the Coastal. I'm here with Chuck Rohe, Executive Director Emeritus of Florida Citrus Sports. How does the release of the BCS poll affect our bowl selection process?
It has a big effect on it because the BCS poll determines how many teams get in the BCS championship game and the other 4 bowl games involved, and that affects how many teams from the Big Ten and SEC get in, whether we get the first pick after the BCS or the second pick after the BCS. So that's very important.
There are 3 teams in the top 10 that don't receive an automatic BCS berth. How would that affect our bowl selection process?
That affects our selection very importantly because Utah and TCU play each other. The winner of that game has a good chance to go unbeaten and continue to be ranked in the top 5 or 6 in the country. Boise State can go through the season unbeaten and be ranked in the top 5 or 6 teams in the country. And if they both get in the BCS, then that eliminates 2 of those spots that the SEC and the Big Ten might claim. So that, again, helps us by them getting in the BCS selection process and getting invited to one of the BCS bowls. That gives us the top choice for the Big Ten and the SEC if one of those teams, one of those conferences only gets 1 team in.
As the namesake of the Charles H. Rohe Trophy, what teams are you expecting to come down for the Champ Sports Bowl?
Well, we've got some really good options in the Atlantic Coast Conference. I think Virginia Tech and Florida State will probably play in the championship ball game, and that leaves several other good teams in the league that could be available to us. You got Miami, you got Georgia Tech, you got North Carolina. All could finish the season pretty good. On the other side of the coin is the Big East Conference, and that's kind of in a turmoil as far as who's going to be coming from that league. On the other hand, we might have a chance to get Notre Dame as a representative of the Big East Conference. Once every 4 years, we are able to select Notre Dame in our agreement with the Big East Conference.
Now that you're Executive Director Emeritus, is there anything that you noticed from the outside that you didn't notice before while you were in the Executive Director position?
Well, of course, when I was formerly running the bowl game, I had to really be concerned about how well we were going to do financially with the bowl, inviting teams that we thought would go bring good crowds and fill the stadium. Maybe that's not as important now, but I still have to be very careful as to what we say when we go out in the field in the press box and who we invite. We can't overextend ourselves. Our committee will vote at the end as to which teams we will invite to participate in both games, and so I don't have the final say, so I have to be a little more careful.
Our Capital One Bowl game of the week is a showdown between SEC West powers as number 6 LSU visits number 4 Auburn. The Champ Sports Bowl game of the week is Georgia Tech at Clemson as both teams vie for a position in a crowded ACC picture. Be sure to check out FCSports.com later this week for breakdowns of each game. Finally, our thoughts go out to Rutgers defensive tackle Eric LeGrand, who suffered a severe injury in last weekend's contest. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family, and we hope for a speedy recovery. On behalf of Chuck Rohe, I'm Erin Campbell. See you next week on the FC Sports Scouting Report presented by Florida Hospital.